Okay.
The last round table, it's called Revelation and Beyond. And they're going to be with us, some of the speakers that they've been these days, and the previous ones were in English, so we would like to have one in Spanish as well, even though we're going to have as well the help and collaboration of Honovi, and so she's going to respond and answer any question related to it. I remind you, Salvador Freixedo, Magdalena del Amo, Honovi, Enrique de Vicente, Raúl Núñez, Ramón Navia, who is as well with Raúl, is the owner of the being in Atacama, and our friend Daniel Muñoz.
Mesa redonda, revelación y más allá, nos invoca un poco a hacer una reflexión de lo que ha sido propiamente visto el Congreso.
I would like to say that if what we've had here, the diversity we've had here, we'd like to know what do you think that ufology is going to, because it's started to go on top and over in a new era. That is not a focus on the nuts and bolts of the field, but in another plane. So we have some veterans like Salvador and Honovi, who I think that is the youngest here in this roundtable. How you value this substantial change in the social in the social aspect of what could be the meaning of the extraterrestrial presence. I'd like to suggest it's very important that so many people that have done efforts to be here, they can ask about wherever they want. Yes, they will, but the first question, I'll do it. I'll do the first one, and then, yeah. Any one of you can ask whatever you want.
Okay.
I'll start. I'll do it quickly. So, okay, another applause, please, for these guys. They did a really good job. Good Congress. This is for you. In my opinion, I've been 35 years in the media as a journalist, as a communicator, and I'm 50 years old now. And out of them, 43 years I've been in good contact with this reality. And there's a big change. It's not a quantic change. It's a step-by-step that has been coming. And I think that the revelation, it's happening because it's more not in the way that we express things, but in the way that we understand things. The ones that we are receiving, not the ones that we are giving. When we are receiving the information, it's how are we processing this information. We know that it doesn't come from outside, the information. It comes from within, so that's the biggest change. And that's the time when you realize that this was never outside you. Now we understand it's inside of us, that you are part of it. You're not a witness of it, you are a starring of this movie. And you can turn things around. And that's the most important thing in the last 30 years, in my opinion. Anyone else wanna give their opinion? Honovi.
Yo creo que espera, Salvador. Salvador, está hablando primero Jaime.
The only constant that we have in this universe, and of course things are always changing and evolving, and it's a good thing, you know. Don't see it as something bad. Like, one moment.
Two English, two
yes.
Spanish, three
I turned
English.
it down. Okay. And the biggest change that I am seeing, because I'm the youngest here, but I have been following and interested in this field ever since I can remember, ever since I was a young girl. And the change that I'm seeing is that people are having direct experiences, and they're moving from just being researchers to actually being contactees and having that first-hand experience. And both sides are very valuable. I don't want anyone to misunderstand me when I'm saying that, when I'm talking about, you know, this change happening, it's valuable that we have researchers, we need that. But we also want to encourage people to have direct experiences, right? So I think that's the biggest change that I am noticing, and also the spiritual information is returning, whether people like it or not. And this is one for people, you know, some people think that if they are scientific, that they cannot be spiritual, but in the ancient time, we can see in many cultures that the sciences and spirituality existed together. So there's no reason why we cannot all work in harmony together moving forward.
Salvador, ahora sí, por favor.
That I want to tell people that in right this moment, we are being bombarded by from the information under mind control. It's amazing the mind control that we are under. So it's good that we have our minds open, because they can lie to us in a very modern way, and in a progressive way as well. And we've been lied in 1,000 ways. The one that he has an open mind with the majority of you, that's why you come here, it is a blessing. But we have to live even with this awakening, and this is spiritual awakening. There are tricks, and because the ones that they are up in the gods are much more intelligent than us, and so to me it's very important that we are aware and we don't let fool ourselves by the others. If you think it's appropriate, we can light it up, turn the lights on, because then after the first questions, I'd like every one of you to ask. Any one of you ask anything you want. And so anyone's gonna, some of the panelists are gonna answer, and maybe do a debate as well. So let's turn the lights on. Does anyone wanna do any question? Can I say something related to the beginning and the first question and the words of Daniel Muñoz? I'm sorry, but I don't see that change, that big change in the ufology, in the study of the mystery in general. I do believe that it's been, the last years, it's been changed, the society is changing, and the new technologies and new advances are, and so on. But I believe that if I do an analysis of this Congress, it reminds me of the Congress of the 80s. So we got the contactees. I remember now the groups of Catalonia that they were here, that they have groups of, they were channeling through the tuning in, and I think we got the same messages, the same drawings, the same manifestations, but the people that now they're 20, they're the same people that were in the 80s, they were 20 as well. So there's so we have so many information, and we have done some few good steps, but the new technologies in general are letting as well the confusion and the intoxication and the disinformation to step in. And I think that there's less investigation now, and there's less working on the field. There's less people going with the recorders, with the tapes and recording stuff. And today I was talking with some other people, and the witnesses have have lost importance. So everything is worth it. So we know a case in the morning today, and because we are all experts in the managing of the videos, the edition, the Photoshop. In the afternoon, this is already the case. It's been viral and on the network, and yeah, that's how the way it goes nowadays. There's still some investigators that they are still doing their job, and they know that there's a lot of fake and confusion on internet and disinformation. So I, with all my respect, and I love to be here with you guys, sharing all everything with you. But I see it as even though the advances, I see it very 80s. This is an 80s event, and I see this person here on my side, Honovi, and I compare her to the ones that we had back then, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Because basically, what we end up doing during these years is just looking at the stars and asking ourselves who are they and what they want from us. Okay, I have to answer you, but it's not that I want to answer you or reply to you. I agree with you. But we were talking 2 days ago about the witnesses, and it's true. But I realize here, as a holistic person, that we don't have to. We have to remember. Don't forget the biorhythm that it comes up and down, up and down. So yeah, I agree with you. And I know that there's a lot of disinformation in the internet, and I know, and it's been pushed too far. But I was not talking about the investigators. That's why I wanted to talk. I'm talking about the ones that are receiving the information, the downloads. Because to be honest, there's no investigation anymore, and I applaud that you are bold to say that. So you have to understand that it's not us the ones that have information, it's yourself that you're getting the information, and that's a chapeau to that. I'll say it really quickly because it comes to my mind, that I like to say out loud. If it's truth, it's the physical evidence are not, people are not interested anymore in them. Maybe it's that we are starting in the era that we have to just get to the heart and not that many physical proofs.
También me gustaría responder a eso. Gracias, creo que voy a apagar.
Many different ways. There's so many different perceptions. You know, one person thinks that nothing has changed, and that's valid. You know, I can't dispute that because that's how you feel, and I have no desire to dispute that. But it's also understanding that for many people things have changed a lot. You know, a lot of people are waking up, a lot of young people. A lot of people are having contact experiences. They were not having contact experiences like that before. A lot of people are expanding their mind, they're bridging together the science and the spirituality. New paradigms are being born, you know. So you can say that things are the same. Maybe they are for you, but for many of us, they are not the same. They are changing at a very rapid, accelerated rate.
Okay, questions. If I ask you to the panel guys, if it can be like a bit quicker, I would like to suggest, if it's a general question, they say it, and otherwise they can say, I want to ask to that person. So that'll make it easy. Thank you, every one of you. I'd like to ask whoever wants to answer, so it's a general one. So maybe it's just a statement or a thought that I have. I realize during 49 years that we are pure invention, experiment of some type of races that they do with us whatever they want. And meanwhile, we are just blocked our ears, and we are blindfolded not to see, and we've been continue walking because we were full of insecurities, and we are not free, not either here or wherever we go after this, even with all these ascension talks and stuff, we are not free. We are a pure experiment from people, from this whoever they are, and their objective, I think, is to make this experiment bigger and bigger. Nothing else. I could give my opinion. It's a bit different than this, but the conception that I have, not only myself and other people, not in a speculative way, in an experimental way. I think that it's really clear, and it comes from a Nobel Prize person, the Prince of Asturias Prize of Literature, and he was coming from a tradition, from it's Doris Lessing, the big feminist woman. So the closer model that can be closer to her. She would say that in her first book, science fiction book, and he says that it's one of the best works, and it's not considered from the experts as a good. It's called Cicasta. And what she says there in that book, in my own words, somehow, more than somebody's experiment, we are a result of a process of evolution in which different civilizations have intervened us. They talk about being encalopus, they're talking about different, but they, at the beginning, they're competing between each other, and then they are collaborating in each other, doing modifications to help our evolution in a way. But then there's another civilization. Eventually, all of them they're like a council or a United Nations of the cosmical. But there's another civilization, a pirate type like civilization. And as this Nobel Prize woman said, and she was, what she says is that there was a big event in the past, and I do believe in it, that somehow changed the cosmic alienation and the cosmic energy that arrived to the Earth and that fed us and it kept us in a certain level. We lost it, and on Earth, the humans that were coming from Earth and the giants that they like colonizers that they were brought from other worlds to help us to mix with them and collaborating with them, and everything arrives to a point of brutality, and that was used from these guys from the dark side, saying, and more than an experiment, I think that on one side we have the cosmic engineers that help for the creation of and modification of planets so they can have life on them, and then this process of the evolution that has to be protected. So we're talking about the positives in the pro-evolution guys, and how they can protect us. Well, they protect us from cosmical events that can come, and like we see the Moon and Mars, they've been bombarded by meteors, and the Earth has never been destroyed. At least since a long time, it's never had a big impact for a long time. And there's other beings, as Salvador Freixedo says in his books, like in Israel, Contact Nation, and they come here to play with us, to manipulate us, to play with our suffering. These are the interventionists. So I would be really make a clear line in between the interferers, the ones that interfere, and the ones that they do interfere. The big important the difference between them, because I do believe personally that the help from these beings, we can summarize the help from these beings. I think we can do it. In the future, we might find ourselves under risk, under big unbalanced situations, and to me it's very important that the light beings, the ones that they are for the evolution, they probably have some good things and bad things, but they can help us. Meanwhile, the other ones, the ones that they call themselves gods, that they created monarchies, cults in this earth, these ones we have to defend ourselves. Can I say something? It's not related to this. It's very hard for us. It was so hard for us that Ramon Navia had come here, and so he hasn't had a lot of time to exhibit and to show us everything about the Atacama being. So we could maybe give them some time to, because I think the people are very interested in them. All of you want to play my role. If you guys want to come here. It's my fault. Okay, I'll just throw in the ball to you. You know that I love them both, but the philosophy of this round table is that if they have any questions, they will be the ones to question. I'm not gonna impose anything. Back there? Yeah, here? Okay. Hello. First of all, thank you, all of you. I think you're a great team, all the investigators and the ones that are working from the heart. Because I think that this moment that we're living, it's very important that we are united. Because there are some minds that they don't believe, and they are really so that the physical tests and proofs are good for these kind of people, and the people who are more evolved, that we don't need this. Anyway, from here I'd like to, more than a question, is a demand. Can you do a channeling in public? Some minutes? If people want, of course. Good evening. I'm a fan of Enrique de Vicente. I've been following you Quarto Millennium program for years. I agree with you on lots of things. And I'd like to ask you, why when we look at the stars, at the sky, we don't see what's there? Why when there's so many intelligent minds on this earth and they just walk around just looking down and not looking up, looking around? Nothing else. Thank you. Well, you've just said it. You already answer yourself. Because they have blocked our senses since the beginning. So, as a species, we have a lack of education. So if the human being is a machine, a deep machine, to that machine they just put some different programmation, so we can conceive reality in a different way. So this is a mental shape or form. So they have some mental approaches as Western civilization, Catholic or Western civilization, is totally different from the one that have Muslim education or background or another or any other type of background, cultural background. So, but then there's a lot of different common things, a group of belief systems which we structure our life on them. The biggest faith act is to believe that the paper that they've given to us, it's worth it, and it's money. And you show money, a paper with color, it's not worth it. It's called money. It's money. Somebody has put want us to put that we put faith on that, on the money. So, but the important is that because of that, people kill each other, and or you become a slave because of that, or you end up being prostituting yourself. So with everything else, this works with the same with the rest of. So it's easy to be ships, and we all go and follow the rest. And if we always had this castrated society that we are, nowadays, not thanks to the fashion current. They want us to be and to follow some tendencies, some trends, and like the Arabian Spring, and it was a rebellion, or against the politicians, the 15th of May, that the day of the Saint Isidro, that the god of the goddess, and it spread all around the world, around the country, and it channels through the creation of new political parties, and that's the easy path is to follow the rest, to watch TV, to consume the day-to-day life, and the ones who were investigating this field, we are officially locos, we are crazy. You know that my message is open your mind, look at any and all directions, and question everything. Question myself, question everything. Get used to to question everything, because it's a surveillance tool. Because for everything that is coming, if we don't question everything and we don't open our minds, we're gonna fall in a death trap.
Light pollution in our world. How are people gonna even see the stars? You know, so a lot of people are very distracted as well. Like the gentleman was saying here, that there's so many distractions that we have created as a collective, especially in the modern culture, but also it's infiltrating into places like Asia and Africa. I was in India not that long ago, and normally they are playing Indian music and stuff, but now it was all westernized. So because of the distractions that are so prevalent in our society, and this disconnect from nature and spirituality also, then it makes sense that people are not asking those big questions. But at the same time, conferences like this are spilling out into the mainstream culture to create a new narrative, a new storyline, where people are encouraged to ask questions and find answers for themselves.
Enrique, channel 2. The lady. The translator also wants to ask, any of you, have you had any experience with your black men in your own countries, with the phenomenon of the government? I think this is a good moment that Ramon speaks. Many years ago, when there was this cloud, I received a visit at home from somebody strange.
They were talking about this priest from Mairena del Alcor. Enrique López Guerrero, that was the name. And he was, he had an accident, a huge accident. And then Enrique López Guerrero, he was a priest that he was taking care about the Uma that they're saying that the extraterrestrials, they were here already. And he came to Barcelona once to talk about some different things, and they went to Seville, in a Mercedes, in a car, and when they were in Benicarló, there was no highways back then, there were some different type of cars, and their car started to take them over. But there was like an old car full of kids and of luggage, so they had an accident because and then Land Rover from the police came and they asked them if they were drinking or what happened, and they said that we had to just get out of the road because a big car was coming with luggage and kids, and we didn't have any room for us, so we had to just turn to the right, and we had the accident. What's going on? Have you been drinking? There was no one else here. So I went to Mairena to talk to the priest, and they told me that they was having proofs of these Sumitas beings that they used to live in Albacete in Spain, and it was so weird that everything. And I asked priest, "Hey, have you done a mass that day?" It's like, "No, I didn't do it." So maybe you've saved because you drink alcohol inside the mass, so that's good for you. But he had already his arm damaged; he couldn't move, and he was still praying in a mass in the church in the afternoon. But yeah, so after that, and I'm telling you that because as a Navy guy, I used to live in the attic on the top of the building. And I put like a kind of Alcatran petrol to do the sign of like UMO, UMO, and I wrote it on the wall. And some days after, the guy who's at the reception of the building, I said to him, and I said, don't let anyone to come up to bother me. But these two people came, and they were not men in black. One looked like the Prince of Wales, and the woman was wearing a weird ropes, and they sit and they didn't eat, they didn't drink, and they talk with me about the accident of the López Guerrero, the accident he had, and I was thinking, I don't know how do they know that, and I've been 40 years, 50 years on this. But it's very interesting that I had this encounter with them, with the Plain Black, and because then I ran outside because I love to ask questions, and I went there, and Pedro, that person, asked me why you're so quiet and you haven't asked anything. And I don't know. They I don't know what they did with my memory, and I went outside to get them, and they say no, they'd left in a black car that we'd never seen before. So this is the Men in Black to me. But it was a normal couple. And then the Padre López Guerrero issue. Thank you. Do you want Salvador wanted to add up something about that? I don't know if they were the classic Men in Black, and I'll say it straight. I saw in a place where lots of things had happened there. I could write a book only about this exclusive place with rare and strange things that had happened there with UFOs and apparitions of beings. So in this place I saw 4, between 3 and 4 and 5. Because it was very shocking for me. Where was the place? Oh, wait, I'm listening. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. Okay, anyway, I went to get some food for a group that we were there. So I went to get some food in an area, very bushy area, a lot of bushes and trees. And then when I was back, these guys were just doing some noises, and I walked past these guys 2 meters, and I stopped some meters away, and I said, what the? is that? What the hell is that? And I was just with, and suddenly they were doing noises and stuff, and then disappeared completely. This 4-person. I didn't see any UFO at all. And they're not the classic men in black, but it was very dark, and they were wearing in dark clothes. They were shocking me with their presence. They were trying to just so anyway, the people that were around that area, they were frightened by these 4 guys, and then they disappeared. And I thought that they went inside, but they were not. And the rest of the people were scared to death, and they disappeared. So in this place, so many things had happened that I could write a book, a whole book of around 12 cases related to that place. But I saw it with my own eyes. And you're not gonna tell us the place. Yes, I will tell you. It was in Puerto Rico, in El Yunque, where everything had happened. I knew it. And I saw it there. So in this place, I could write a book around these apparitions, plane crashes, or even a group that went there as an excursion, trekking, like they come here in Montserrat. So the lawyer, the most famous lawyer in Puerto Rico that now passed away, he told me, he said, Mr. Frechedo, we used to go with girls there to have some fun, because it's not very far away from San Juan, and we went there, and when we were coming back, some of the girls were missing. Yeah, and even the children of some people had disappeared there when they were trekking. So there's some strange things happening in there. So a long time I had it in my mind, and then I thought suddenly, I don't know, what was that? Because these guys disappeared in front of me, because I was going there to say, what are you guys doing it? Because they wanted to take something down, something, a fence or something, and then when I approached them, they disappeared. I don't know if they were men in black, but they were not the classic men in black. They looked like it. Thank you. More questions? Be stuck on there and not to look at each and every one of us puzzles, and just. Isn't it time to start to unite the World Congress? Not only you, but day to day, what part of the puzzle I have on my side, and try to start to get them together, put them together. Because I got this experience, you got this experience, so we have to accept that this is like this, and we have to put the puzzle together to see the cosmos. So, this is the idea of the Congress. Yeah, but with so many communication, that we can understand all languages and the ones from the stars, and we are not really communicating. In reality, worldwide, we still need, there's a lot of communication. Is this the first step, or how many steps we have to take? But this is the problem, though. There's no going forward. We're still looking at our own piece of puzzle, instead of put them together. We're still analyzing too much our puzzle. And how can we do that every day, not only when the UFO Congress is going on? Let me give you, I'll give you the answer, one answer, and then I'll let the others speak. You have to know, first of all, that the search is personal, so you cannot apply to anyone else. So from there, when you start to communicate with others, is when everything it makes sense. This is the purpose of this meeting, this Congress. We want to get together all of you, from the personal to the collective. When we talk about cancer, now the scientists have found out that if they feed that cancer cell with cells, with a bad cell into the bad cell, it can destroy the whole cancer. So we are living this through personal experiences. So this is the one of the biggest things of congresses like this. In my opinion, as you well said, and I said it, you say it 3 times, so it was really clear. And I agree with Magdalena with this. At the right time, she is doing her own work as the rest of us have been doing. And you know what happened? Myself, I've seen lots of different cultures, and it's a blast to be able to be traveling around the world. And at least I've been in 76 countries. So all these cultures led me to see everything in a more in an aerial view, so you can see the whole picture. And we are dramatically the same. We are cyclic people with we let inertial people, impulsive, and we need a leader. This is the problem of the evolution. We need references in an external system. So in this evolution moment that it only belongs to you and only belongs to you, when you want, and pay attention to this, three features of the whole thing. 4 levels of consciousness. One is I need it, the one that we've lived somewhere. I need money, I need a girlfriend, I need a husband, I need a priest, I need God, I need medicine. And then next one is it suits me. Yeah, it's good. I like it. I like this water. I like this better than this. I fancy this. I fancy the other. So, and then another level. I like it. I like the water. I like the sparkling water. The thing is to get to the point where we can call it I want it. But it doesn't imply you with anything. But there's only one condition. If I want it, it's because I want it, not because that or that person told me that I had to go vegetarian or just forget about the hell of marriages, of money, you want it. And this you want it implies a consciousness, and you need a responsible compromise. And you are talking about a collaboration system, that we have to do it all together or we're not going to make it. And I don't agree with you. You have to do it on your own first, conscious about the changing, and then you are a sun that is radiating. Otherwise, instead of radiating, you're only going to shine, but not radiating. Like the moon only gives us back the reflection of the sun. It doesn't radiate. Magdalena, you wanted to say something? Yeah, coming back to what you said, every one of us has a puzzle piece, and it's time to go forward. Yeah, I believe, as Guijarro has said, and Daniel, the investigation, it's from a personal point of view, and then it's true, we share and we meet and we share. So investigation has been multidisciplinary, and as it has to be, and as I said yesterday, for the same facts there can be different interpretations. When it comes to the little details, especially, and a doctor, or a priest, or whatever, they can interpret things in their way, but then you have to contrast things. And what I'm seeing is investigation is one thing. The ufology investigation is one thing, and then the emotional is another thing. The emotional part, we are confusing both of them. I think we want to apply the emotional component, put it in the first plane, and I don't agree with doing that. We're looking about being good lately. Being good, doing the good. It looks like you have to be a good person, and it's something like relativating everything. And one thing is investigation, and another thing is wishful thinking. So it's very nice, the heart and the peace and the love and so on, and very nice. The meditation is really good, and it's good to stop our brain and to have a break 1, 2, 3 times a day. But we have a reality that we have to live, and we are responsible. We have to live it in harmony with this other reality. So, as you say, maybe sometimes we have to just put our feet on the ground. Yeah, well, so we all go to the toilet, right? And we do and other things. So we have to be realistic and peace and love. Yes, of course, meditation, and the nature in the flowers is great. But as well, we cannot escape from this reality. And I don't want it. I'm conscious about it. I'm conscious about this reality. I have to go higher and higher, but I don't want to give that. I don't want to, involve that emotional element in everything. That's a bit from the past. I think we are realized in the past, and so we knew that the new era is a manipulation of the system. So we are quiet and meditating and with quartz and candles, and then the ones that are manipulating, they can work, but with no problem, because the human farm, so the human farm, as Frechedo said, can be happily just eating and living in this earth. So yes, the light beings and the angels are here. And I know I'm protected by them, but I know that the bad ones too. And if I let my defenses to go down, I will probably, the bad ones will go in, and I will try not to. But I have to be conscious that this is there. Peace and love, yes. Meditation, yes. But tangible reality and reason, yes, as well.
Vamos a intentar, si quieres responder, ya me extrañaba a mí que esto...
So,
Abriste el melón, Magdalena.
So the question was about how we can actually unify and bring unity day to day in our everyday life. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is really moving out of our ego and thinking that we have all the answers and that there's only one way to do something. There's not. There's infinite ways, and all paths are valid, and it's important for us to recognize and appreciate that. And just like Magdalena was saying, it is important to have our feet on the ground. But our feet on the ground, according to who? We are each unique. What is ungrounded to one person is very grounded to another. We cannot make that, comparison. I'm having experiences that some people might consider ungrounded, but only because they are not having those experiences. So they cannot be dismissed, It doesn't make sense to dismiss them just because you are not having those experiences. In order for unity consciousness to really be anchored and lived into, we really need to put our differences aside. And like the lady who asked the original question was saying, we each do have a piece of the puzzle. So why not actually come together with the intention of piecing it together instead of ripping it apart, I think there's many different ways that we can come together in stronger ways, but it has to begin with putting aside the ego and wanting to be more right or dismissing other ideas.
I'm going to be quick with this. When we are searching for, even in the investigation field, this part of the positive part, the light, we can call it the light part, is never going to be mediocre. It's not going to be, we're not going to have the big picture if we don't search for the dark part as well. In our evolution, apart from considering of doing we, which is contrary of the having a drink, so when you have food, you'll do popo. So we have to thank to the water that we have, and to the we when we. So we have to find that balance, this point in between. I'll be short, and I don't want to interfere with your the referee role that you do it really good. I'm still worried about how many people want to talk and ask. You know that I like to talk. There's 5 minutes left. The problem is that I like to all of you to ask everything. So I was suggesting to say who is directed the question to. So because if we have to talk all of us, then it's too long. Is there anything else after this? It's like no, it's the end of it. So we like to extend it a little bit more so everyone can ask everything. The problem is that there's people that has planes and flight tickets and the dinner. The restaurant closed at certain hour. I know that every one of you like to be in my role, but I like to be in yours, in your shoes. Carlos, the one that hasn't spoken. I like, I thank you for the question. In the past there was congresses and they were separating between them. And they were looking for physical evidences. But we were not dismissed, the spiritual part. So, yesterday I did a speech about personal experience. Because at some point I was at the other side and I was skeptical. Not against it, but I ignored it. I ignored the ufology. So as an example of how one can be transformed before something that is very strange or unknown. And then afterwards what we brought is statistics from years and years of almost 2,000 cases that now the ufology community has in their hands. So the only problem is that it's a little grain of soil or of sand. So I'm not really that happy of the I don't pat my back and say I'm really good because I'm working on this, but we have to balance both the physical evidences with the spiritual one. And the two areas are the ones that are going to be the ones that are leading us to have congresses like this, the one that we had. And so like in the one in the 58 in Barcelona, when Rivera was here and talking, and he was talking about the light, that this is the light that's going to shed a light to all the world from Barcelona. He used to say that. So we have to be positive and go further in all areas, the physical, the metaphysical as well. We have time for the last one. Hello, I'd like to thank you, all of you, especially for Mr. Freshero and Anna, all of you, Honovi as well, but especially all of you, the three that I mentioned. I go into the personal plane, to my experience, to share with all of you. When I was little, I had lucid dreams, but I haven't had them anymore because, first of all, I don't need them. I have to find my way, my path, and to evolve as a person. First of all, I think about I think through the numerology and astrology and the familiar links that I have, and what Magdalena had said about the earth, and I am a terrestrial symbol, and I don't know if you know Simsa, but it's very terrestrial, and he's an incredible woman.
Y luego no sé si conoceréis a JAYME Joffre, que es amigo.
I don't know if you know JAYME Joffre, that's friends with, yeah, he's a friend of mine. Yeah. He was former military.
Y él sí.
And he remembers the guy who was in contact with the Men in Black, JAYME Joffre. And he doesn't remember a lot because he had. I ask you to concrete your question because otherwise we don't have time. No, I just wanted to thank you. I want to thank you as well to come here. Yeah, that's it.
Lo que vamos a hacer es un fuerte aplauso. Sí, pero es que no tenemos tiempo. Quiero agradeceros a todos.
I want to thank all of you, Salvador Freixedo, Magdalena del Almo Freixedo, Carlos Ferguson, Honovi, Enrique, Raúl Núñez, Ramón Navia, and Daniel. And the rest of you, I don't know if you're here, but if they're here, can you come up to the stage and we're going to do a picture, group picture with all of the ones that we participated. It's been an honor for me to be able to conduct this Congress. I wish that there's a second edition, that we can reunite, maybe in a year and two. We'll see, time doesn't exist. We just put the parameters for the time. Same as the young, being young or not, or old. We're all beautiful and we're all young and we all have an incredible spirit. Thank you from my heart.